It's Friday night, the pizza is ordered, the Coke is on ice, and we're not just going to the video store. We're going back, all the way back to 1984. And that year might just be the greatest year in movie and pop culture history. But tonight we're not arguing that. Tonight we are watching movies, and I have a great stack for you, so pop that tape in. I got you. Let's go do this. Welcome back to Friday Night Rentals, where every Friday night we rewind back to the golden age, the great era of video stores and VHS rentals, that perfect weekend watch list that you got with your buddies, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, and you ran home, you ordered those pizzas, you got your soda, you got your big thing of Pringles, maybe some Cool Ranch Doritos, you got your snacks, you were in for the night, you grabbed the comfy spot on the couch or in the floor. And tonight's episode's a little different because we're going back specifically to 1984 to check out our rentals tonight. Because tomorrow, as you watch this, I might drop the biggest, most ambitious essay and argument on why 1984 just might be the greatest year in all of pop culture history. Not just movies, but everything. But before we get there, I want to spend Friday night the right way, the old school way, in the video rental store. So we're pulling tapes that defined that year for a generation of us who grew up inside them. So tonight, I've got crowd pleasers, cult legends, VHS treasures, and before we check out, we will take our trip down the horror aisle from this one incredible year. And starting off the night, our pick at number one, the crowd pleaser, you got it, it is Beverly Hills Cop. We start here tonight because when you walk into the video store in 1984, if this tape is there, and it might not have got there honestly till 1985, but if this tape is there, you're renting it. Beverly Hills Cop was the number one movie of the year in 1984. Made more money than everything else. Eddie Murphy is Axel Foley, a Detroit street cop who goes to Beverly Hills to investigate the murder of his friend and ends up taking on a criminal operation that the local police are just a little too polished and fancy to see clearly. This is Eddie Murphy's star-making film overall. He passed up Ghostbusters to do this, and we've lived with this movie and this franchise for the next 40 plus years. What he does in this movie is extraordinary. The improvisation, the specific intelligence it takes in that he has underneath every scene. Eddie Murphy's one of my favorite actors of all time, just performers of all time. The way he makes you laugh, the way he makes you genuinely feel at ease when you watch him, doesn't matter what he's doing, whether it's the banana in the tailpipe or getting thrown through a window, the way he walks, the way he talks, he perceives Hollywood with the way a lot of us probably would who are from smaller towns and places that are just not quite so polished, I guess, as Hollywood. Beverly Hills Cop was number one at the box office, beating Ghostbusters and Temple of Doom. Believe that or not, it earned every single dollar. And this is your crowd pleaser for tonight. The fun film that gets everyone settled in. You want something to make everybody in the room happy. Beverly Hills Cop delivers that completely. 40 plus years later, we're still seeing Axel Foley do his thing. One of the greatest movie characters ever created. And it's your Friday night opener. And then a VHS legend from the new release wall at the time, we go to The NeverEnding Story. Yes, Yes, one of the most important films for kids from the entire decade. Wolfgang Peterson directing. Noah Hathaway is Atreyu. You got Barrett Oliver as Bastian. And I can't hear Bastian's name without hearing the Empress saying, "Bastian, call my name." Say it out loud, baby. This is childhood in a rental box right here. The world inside this story is more real than anything outside of it. You got a luck dragon, you've got Artex, you got the rock biter, you've got everything going on. We don't even care whether or not we care anymore. Like the whole turtle, all of that. The NeverEnding Story takes you somewhere beautiful, somewhere genuine. It makes you see inside yourself and know that the imagination and the world that you love, that you create, is more important than you even realize. Falcor feels real as a luck dragon, but Atreyu's journey feels real because you see it on screen, you experience it with him. Try to overlook the Artex thing because that ends up okay. It ends up okay. This film, though, is the first movie I genuinely remember seeing at the movie theater, not just being taken to, but seeing, coming home and telling my grandmother all about it, to the point my whole life she joked with me that she didn't have to see it because I already acted out the entire movie for her word for word. Actually watching this, see the story come alive, seeing the imagination, the power of a child's imagination and how it fights off the hopelessness and the depressing nothing that exists without it. How can you not have this legend in a stack of 1984 rentals? We're checking this one out on Friday night. Call my name. All right, so now we're going to go deeper into the store for an iconic actor of the 80s, 90s, and today, doing a little sword sorcery, a little sword and sandal for our little cult pick of Conan the Destroyer with Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of my greatest all time. Him and Stallone at the top. All right, this one is you're kind of passing, the new release. This one came out earlier in the year. You're checking this one out. This is the cult film because it's weird, it's different, it's not the same as Conan the Barbarian. This one, Destroyer, has Richard Fleischer directing, Arnold Schwarzenegger returning as Conan, but a very different tone, PG-13, not R, not as dark, but because you've also got Wilt Chamberlain in this movie, Grace Jones as Zulu in here. It's very trippy, very different. You have Olivia Diabo in here, beautiful, all of those things, more commercially minded with, when you take away the R rating, less violence, less all of that, so everybody in the family can watch this without too much trouble. And if you watch 1982's Conan the Barbarian, this is what happened next, but it doesn't feel like it ever reached the heights of the original story. It's still fun, more magic, more sort of fantasy, maybe much more lighthearted. A nice cult pick here. Pour something a little stronger in your glass maybe than the Coke. Kick back, embrace the nonsense, the excess, the magic, the beauty, the fun, the ridiculousness. This is what 1984 is for, is Conan the Destroyer. Things just aren't replicated with movies like this anymore. So much fun, less brutal, just a crowd pleaser in and of itself in a lot of ways, but you still got Arnold being Arnold, and you got the sword and sandal and the magic and the action and adventure of it all that all screams 1980s, and specifically 1984 with Conan the Destroyer. All right, so I have the one it's not really a hidden gem. Come on, when I say this, you'll be like, that's not a hidden gem. So I'm not really going to classify it. Maybe it's a hidden gem of your heart. I don't know. And it's not my favorite movie by this director and writer, but it is one that came from 1984, and it fits, and it just so happens I still have the VHS of 16 Candles. Yes, there it is, right there. Be kind, rewind, like always. So before we take our trip down the horror aisle, we have to take our trip to a little John Hughes land for 16 Candles. Molly Ringwald as Samantha Baker in this. Michael Shuffling as Jake Ryan. Anthony Michael Hall as the geek in here. In a film that launched really the most important director-actress collaboration there of the 80s with John Hughes and Molly Ringwald. John Hughes, I'm convinced, is single-handedly responsible for Molly Ringwald having a living in Hollywood. Without him, I'm not sure she gets there. Samantha's entire family in this forgets her 16th birthday. Her grandparents are visiting for her sister's wedding. The boy she loves has no idea she exists, and she's like sort of infatuated with the beautiful girl in the school to the point where they're watching her shower at the beginning, which is kind of over the top for a movie with this rating. But what happens over the next 24 hours in the movie is funny, it's embarrassing, it's honest, it feels awkward and like real life, occasionally uncomfortable. That's that awkwardness in there. All genuinely great teen films are uncomfortable and awkward at some point because it's an uncomfortable and awkward but also awesome period in your life, and it gets a little overwhelming, it gets a little humiliating at some point. Some of the times the feelings have no place to go. Molly Ringwald is really good in this film. The combination of like kind of being vulnerable and, you know, also having dignity, trying to keep her dignity, brings Samantha to life in this one. A girl she's really being overlooked by everyone in this, and if you're like a younger child or a middle child or anything like that, you probably get it, or if you just felt overlooked at any time, you probably get it. So it makes it very relatable with 16 Candles. Her career in this movie kind of like launched the generation's understanding of movies like this. 16 Candles, not really a hidden gem because it's John Hughes, it's Molly Ringwald, Anthony Michael Hall. Everybody knows this movie, but it fits here tonight. It's 1984. It comes off the shelf. It's warm. It's funny. Got a little bit of awkwardness and heartbreak to it. All the right proportions. So you got to check out some John Hughes. It's the 80s. 16 Candles. And we're going to take that one. But before we check out, before we go, you know it. There's one more aisle that we have to visit. You know the aisle. It is time for our trip down the horror aisle. I'm a horror filmmaker. I love horror movies. I love the feel of them. I grew up on 80s horror movies as a kid. That full, emotional, fun, scary, naughty, over-the-top power of those movies laden with practical effects. And at night when it gets spooky and you're down to that last movie, you got to take that trip down that horror aisle. Usually somewhere at the back of the video rental store, slightly darker than the rest of the store for reasons we can't really explain, and it lined with those boxes with beautiful painted cover art designed to stop you in your tracks, draw your attention, and make you pick it up even if you probably shouldn't have. And tonight's horror aisle pick is one of the greatest 1984 cult discoveries ever. The kind of box that would have just jumped at you off the shelf. The kind of film that has spent 40 plus years being found by exactly the right people. Joss Whedon said that this inspired the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show because of just everything about it and the movie. So you got to find this at the exact right moment. And I am talking about Night of the Comet. Now, I really like Night of the Comet. I think it's underrated. So Catherine Mary Stewart, who I love, beautiful, all those kind of things. Kelly Maroney, beautiful cult film actress. Both of them just great in this, playing sisters, two valley girls who wake up to find a passing comet has disintegrated most of humanity overnight. Los Angeles is pretty much empty. The streets are theirs. The mall is completely theirs, except for the occasional zombie, which poses slightly a problem, and the scientists who want to use their uncontaminated blood to survive. So here's what I love about Night of the Comet specifically is it refuses to kind of be just one thing. It starts off, it's like Christmas, New Year's. Catherine Mary Stewart's working at a movie theater. I love that. She's trying to beat the high score on arcade games, so it brings in that whole culture. Love all that, but it's also funny. It's scary. It's got some action to it. It's clever about the premise in a lot of ways. And the budget never really shows up. You can tell they don't have infinite money, but it feels like 10 times the budget because of how good they do. The two female leads in this, they're not wimps, but they're also not Mary Sue girl bosses. They're smart, resourceful, completely capable without being just, automatically great at everything. They're exactly the kind of dangerous, beautiful, capable women that I'm going to celebrate in any story on this channel. They don't wait to be rescued, but they don't think they're too good to be rescued either. They figure it out. They fight back. They win some. They lose some in 1984 Valley Girl, California Girl fashion, which is one of the great tonal achievements in cult films, particularly horror films of the decade. The box art for Night of the Comet was one that stood out in the horror aisle. This is an alternative one, stands out just as much. The comet, the city, the two girls on there, the specific premise that something wild was going to happen inside that VHS if you just rented it and took it home. And it's a promise it kept completely. A great Scream Factory 4K restoration here. This is your trip down the horror aisle. This is your midnight film from 1984, the one you watch after everything else, after Beverly Hills Cop has made everyone laugh, after the NeverEnding Story has made everyone cry, and Conan has made everyone cheer, and 16 Candles has left the room in a nostalgic, warm, romantic-y glow. Then you turn the lights off and you put on Night of the Comet, and you remember exactly why the horror aisle was the last and best stop before you checked out. So there you go, 5 films, got them right here. One extraordinary year: Beverly Hills Cop, NeverEnding Story, Conan the Destroyer, 16 Candles, and Night of the Comet from the horror aisle. This is your Friday night in 1984. That is your video rental store haul for the weekend. Enjoy every single minute of it. Make sure you are subscribed. You like the video. Make sure the bell is on, because tomorrow I am dropping the full argument for 1984. And if you're catching this later, you'll be able to find that argument on the channel no matter what, because we're going to discuss why 1984 was the single greatest year in pop culture and movie history. And you're going to want to be there for that one. But until then, pop that tape in. I got you. Go enjoy it. And I will see you next time. Be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. I know.